Welcome to the Flutter CICD course over here, and if you want to learn some of the more advanced concept in the Flutter CICD, make sure to check out my course in my website where we will cover all of the topic related to the Flutter CICD with the code magic as well as the GitHub action. So let's go and see what are the topics that we will be covering over here. Let's scroll down. The first thing that we are going to cover is the continuous integration over here, and we will also cover the continuous delivery. Similarly, we will have the continuous deployment over here, and we'll also make use of the code magic YAML file, and we'll also cover the server code push, and then we also have the GitHub action over here. So whole bunch of the topics that we are going to cover with the Flutter CI/CD over here, and I hope you will enjoy this particular course as well as the topics that we have covered over here. I hope to see you. Till then, have a great day. Let us continue with our lesson over here, and in this particular lesson let us try to see how we can upload the artifact or to our archive and later download that particular file. So let's say you build a APK file, or you build the IPA file, or like let's say a mapping file and other files that you want to add to archive and let the user able to download, right? Instead of distributing that particular APK file, user can just go to your workflow and then just grab that particular APK file for test or do something else, right? And instead of uploading it to like let's say Firebase app distribution, or like distributing it to the Play Store, right? You just want the user to come to that particular workflow and able to download that particular file, or you yourself want to download after the build was successful, because once the build is successful you don't get access to that particular file, right? So you don't have an option to download. But what you can do is you can use this particular action to upload that to the archive, and then later you can download it. So make sure to go and read this particular documentation, right? And you can see the current version is of the version 4 over here, right? And there is also version 3, right? So if you want to make use of the version 3, so make sure go and read the documentation. You need to use this particular action, need to provide the name, which is of the optional. Path is the file path from where you want to pick up that particular file, and if there was no file found, you want to give an error warning or ignore that, right? And retention policy by default, I guess it's of the 0, and meaning 0 means the default retention. You can also give the minimum one, maximum of the 90 days, right? So the uploaded file is available for this days over there. Compression, overridden, include the hidden files and all of those options, right? So you can just go and read this particular documentation. What we will do is we'll go and include it in our project over here. So let's go to our this particular project, which is of the iOS and Android and iOS they build. And once the build is successful, what we will do over here is let's just go and add that section over here. It should be of the dash the name, and name will provide as the upload the APK file. So currently we just want to upload the APK file because we don't have the IPA file to be downloaded over here. And let's go and make use of the let's just go and make use of the action upload the artifact, and we are going to use of the version 3, not the version 4 over here. And with right, so with the name I'll just go and say the Android APK, or you can just go and give a different name, that doesn't matter, Android dev or the Android debug, right? Debug APK. So you can just give a name over here, and then the path of the file to download. To check that particular file path, what you can do is you can just go over here, and in the build APK section you should be able to see where that particular file is located. So I'll just copy this particular file path from here, and let us go back over to our workflow over here, and let's just go and remove that and just go and add that particular path over here. So with this particular path, it should be able to find that and upload that to our archive, and user should be able to download that. So let's just go and try to build. So git add and git ummit commit dash the m, and let's just keep the commit message over here. Added the action, or added the step steps to upload the build, right? So FACT artifact, right? So the build artifact to archive archive over here, and let's try to git push this one, and that should trigger the build for us. So let's just go and open up our actions over here, and let's wait for this one to complete, and you should see the artifact section over here to be able to download that one. So let's wait for this one to complete over here. And now you can see once the build is successful, you can see that this is the file that you can actually download it. So you have a download option, and the name of this particular file is the name that you have mentioned over here. So the name of that particular file, and this is the location, right? And now you can see that you are able to actually download that one, or you can also go and delete that. And we have set the default option to for that particular file to be downloaded, right? So you can also provide the option to like the number of days that it can be actually downloaded. So you can see there is an option retention days, right? So by default is of zeros. If you put as a 0, it will use a default one, but you can also set from the minimum of the 1 to the 90 days as well. So depending on your requirement, you can just go and configure, and it's good to have that once you are able to build that particular APK, you should be also able to download and test that one as well, right? So that's all for this particular lesson, and we will continue with the next lecture. Till then, have a great day.